episode 260 of the Aggressive Progressive Podcast. Hide your pets. Let's start the show.
We are now the defenders of the stronghold of democracy and of equal opportunity.
You and I, as citizens, have the obligation to shape the debates of our time, not only with the votes we cast, but with the voices we lift.
The people are looking for honest answers, not easy answers.
The very word secrecy is repugnant.
Clear leadership.
And we are, as a people,
not false claims and evasiveness and politics as usual.
Opposed to secret society.
But ours was a nation of the ballot, not the bullet.
And a secret
As
proceedings.
a people, we cannot afford to let any group of citizens or any individual citizens live or labor under conditions which are injurious to the common welfare.
Black, white, Latino, Asian, Native American, young, old, gay, straight, men, women, folks with disabilities, all pledging allegiance under the same proud flag to this big, bold country that we love. That's what I see. That's the America I know.
Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America.
Welcome to the Aggressive Progressive Podcast. Thank you for liking, rating, reviewing, subscribing, and telling your friends about this podcast. Coming soon to YouTube at The Aggressive Progressive on YouTube. Man, America, here's the thing. People need to stop targeting President Trump for assassination. People also need to stop phoning in bomb threats to Springfield, Ohio area schools and other establishments. People need to stop thinking it's okay for politicians to do nothing when children are gunned down in their schools. People should stop thinking that, and politicians should stop pretending there's nothing they can do about it. People need to stop blaming each other for things that they have no control over. Politicians need to stop demonizing the other side because they have different ideas than them. Politicians also need to stop blaming their opponents when some maniac tries to kill their opponent. It's not what happened, right? It's not, J.D. Vance came on the air yesterday and decided that he was going to say that the rhetoric problem in this country is all Democrats' fault. The day after, he was on national television defending the fact that he lied about Haitian immigrants stealing pets and eating them in Springfield, Missouri. He justified that. Said, yes, it was a lie, but it got us talking about what I wanted to talk about. Meanwhile, as I said, people are phoning in bomb threats in Springfield, Missouri, because J.D. Vance and Donald Trump continue to lie. They continue to do it. Donald Trump, at least, is continuing to lie about this. Says they're stealing the geese from the pond. Do me a favor. Try to go catch a goose in the pond and see how that works out for you. People need to stop lying about things. People who are seeking public office need to stop pretending that they are internet trolls and can say anything they want with no consequences to anyone. People need to stop that. Talk show hosts need to stop automatically agreeing with people who they view as being on, quote, their side, even when their own experience in life will tell you that they are completely wrong. Maybe you're listening to this on a station where such a talk show host exists and may come on before or after me. They need to stop that. You should call them up and tell them to do that. If you're listening to me on a podcast, call up whatever station's doing that. It's time for us all to accept responsibility for the tone and not simply point fingers at the other side. I've tried. You've heard me talk about it here. Thank God that the Secret Service was successful in doing their job, and this guy did not have any success in trying to assassinate Donald Trump. Thank God. But, we need to come to a consensus in this country that we're not helpless. This guy shouldn't have had a gun. The guy who shot up the last 5, 10, 100 schools in this country over the last couple of years, they all probably shouldn't have had guns. Hell, this kid in Georgia should never have had a gun. FBI visited him to talk to him about the threats he was making online. His father gave him a gun anyway. Wanted him to feel more like a man, I guess. We have to stop pretending that we're helpless. And let me tell you something. Members of Congress really need to stop pretending that they're helpless, because they are not helpless. They have the power to make significant change in who can or cannot have a gun. Period. The Supreme Court made it very clear. Second Amendment isn't an absolute amendment because none of the amendments to the Constitution, none of the rights in the Constitution are absolute. They are all subject to reasonable regulations. Making sure that people who are going to be, pose a threat to themselves or others don't have guns, that's a reasonable regulation that almost everybody agrees on. So why can't we do it? We need to stop pretending. Listen to this. We're out. Welcome back. I am Chris Hahn at Christopher Hahn on X, Christopher Hahn NY on Instagram, and ChristopherHahn.com. Follow me on YouTube at The Aggressive Progressive. Pretty soon I will be putting these podcasts up there on a regular basis. Did a test show about a week ago. Take a look at it, and there's some other stuff up there, obviously, from my television appearances. It's at The Aggressive Progressive on YouTube. And watch me on News Nation wherever you get television. So, So, I mean, look, I don't know what this attempt by this guy on Trump's going to do to the race. I got to tell you, probably nothing. His last assassination attempt came at a time when Joe Biden was flailing and didn't really move his numbers. It may move him a little bit. And in a race like this, a little bit matters. But we still have 6 weeks before the election. And I doubt that any sympathy vote he gets will be long-lived. Because just like the last time, which was far worse, right? The guy actually got a shot off and it hit him. I don't expect Donald Trump to change. And all evidence is showing that he hasn't. I mean, he's already fundraising off this, which I think is disgusting. But he's doing it. And I guess that's politics, right? People got to fundraise off everything. And I expect him to hit the road and be as vile and, race baiting as he's been. I mean, I think that the campaign that he's been running has been off kilter. It's been on tilt, if you will, since the debate particularly, where, he clearly got his clock cleaned and tried to spin it as best he could. But everybody laughed at the spin. They thought the spin was ridiculous. So, I mean, I guess this gives him a couple of days to, reset that narrative so that we're not all talking about his disastrous debate performance in the same way that we talked about Joe Biden's disastrous debate performance, 3 months ago. So, I don't know. Look, we're in the home stretch, guys. 6 weeks. It's 6 weeks to Election Day. And, as I've been saying, don't sit on your hands. Don't take anything for granted. Don't say, okay, well, now we've got to reset because we don't know what the environment is after this latest incident. It doesn't matter. You still got to reach your voters and get them out. It is just that simple. So the way you do that is through good old-fashioned shoe leather and making sure that the field operations are doing their thing and making sure that the candidates are appearing in local media as often as possible in swing states. And I expect that that's what's going to happen for the next 6 weeks. I feel bad for you. If you're listening to me right now in Pennsylvania or North Carolina or Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, maybe even Florida, I feel bad for you because you're going to be inundated. I mean, maybe you're going to, don't tune me out as a result of it. I'm your pal, Chris. You're going to be inundated. You're going to get mail every day. You're going to see nothing but political ads, billboards everywhere. It is going to be 6 months of silly season for you. So enjoy. Try to stay sane, focus, and get the job done. But I want to just go back to what I was talking about J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is a clown. I mean, J.D. Vance is perpetrating a lie about a city he represents in Ohio. I mean, could you imagine if you're the city manager of Springfield, who I believe is a Republican? You're the governor of Ohio, who I know is a Republican, Mike DeWine, having to deploy state troopers to elementary schools and high schools in Springfield because of bomb threats and other threats made against the schools because something your junior senator from your state is constantly talking about and justifying lying about his own state, about a city in his own state. He is justifying that. I tell you, this is a boost for Sherrod Brown in a lot of ways. Because what J.D. Vance is doing right now is basically telling the Ohio voter who has elected Sherrod Brown throughout the Trump presidency, while other Republicans have been winning that state, the Democrat hasn't won that state in a long time. Sherrod Brown continues to win. But what they're showing them, J.D. Vance is showing the voters in that state is, maybe you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. Because if Donald Trump decides that one of your cities needs to be made an example of, he will make an example of it. And your junior senator, for sure, will not help you. He, in fact, will perpetrate the lie and then try to justify lying about his own state. Kids can't go to, they had to shut some schools down. They had to shut some colleges down as a result of this. I don't know, I guess when J.D. Vance loses the vice presidency, he could do like a mattress firm commercial because I don't know how he sleeps at night. I really don't. I mean, it is your job when you represent a state to be a servant of that state. To be a servant of the people in that state. Not to use the people of that state as an example that, causes harm to the people of that state. It to me is beyond low. It is beyond despicable. Yet they continue to do it. And there's no sign of stopping. Hang in there, I'll be right back. Hope you had a great weekend. I know I did. It's funny. I have tried my best to check out on the weekend. To not engage politically at all. To just, enjoy my family, enjoy my dogs, enjoy the weather. We've been having ridiculously good weather here in the Northeast. Now, look, I mean, my life has a lot of politics in it, so it's almost impossible for me to ignore it. I mean, I still have things to do politically on the weekends, as part of my persona, if you will, posting, tweeting. But I'm not, here's what I need to tell you. I do this for a living. Most of you, I would say almost all of you, don't. So maybe you need to not get so engaged. I was talking to somebody who has done some work for me over the years, younger, and they're not political at all. And they were telling me how they were working some parties out in the Hamptons over the summer, working, as bartenders. And she told me how funny it was, how she would do Democratic events and Republican events, and she would see the same people at them. And I tried to tell her that the people who are actually doing this, people who are actually engaged in the arena, for the most part, they don't hate the people on the other side. Now, that might seem strange to you, given, what you see and what you hear on the airwaves and in social media, but it is 100% true. Now, it's not as true as it was, 10 years ago, but it is still predominantly true that the people who are the fighters in the arena, the people whose names are on the door, the people who are actively engaged in politics, who are really in the game, don't hate the other side. So the big question is then, why do the rank and file hate the other side? Now, if you've been listening to me over the past, couple of years, you know the answer to that. Because the reward system in media today, including the media I'm talking to you in right now, is to get you angry all the time. To paint the other side as so extreme that whatever idea they come out with, even if they're ideas that you think are good, if you heard them blindly without knowing who was saying them, you must dismiss as a threat to the republic. That is the reward system in media today. Which is why it always strikes people as odd when they see liberals and conservatives, Democrats and Republicans having a drink together. When I go to D.C., and I go a lot, I almost always have dinner with somebody on the other side. Almost always, because I'm on TV with them. And after TV, we go out to dinner. And people look at us strangely when we're in the restaurants. Wait a minute, isn't that Chris Hahn, the aggressive progressive? And Mick Mulvaney, Trump's former chief of staff, laughing and talking about golf? Yes. Because I have more in common with Mick Mulvaney, and Mick Mulvaney has more in common with me than we do with most other people. Because we've both been in the arena our entire lives, or at least most of the last 30 years. And that's just a fact, America. I don't hate. People are like, oh, you must hate them. I don't. I don't hate anybody. I don't even hate Trump. I don't want Trump to die. I want Trump to retire. Be retired by Kamala Harris. Go play golf. Enjoy your life. I don't care. I don't even want him in jail. Some people want him in jail. I don't. Not even a little bit. And I've said it here before, and I'll say it again. I wish him well playing golf in Scotland and getting out of American politics for good. That's what I would like to see. So just keep that in mind. Next time you're hating on me or hating on somebody on the right, personally hating on them, not hating their positions, not disliking what they stand for, but hating on them personally, thinking that they're the devil. Just understand that people who are encouraging you to hate them don't really hate them. I mean, a lot of people on the right whose positions I despise. I haven't met too many that I personally despise. Listen to this. I'll be right back. Welcome back. I am Chris Hahn. I'm at Christopher Hahn on X, Christopher Hahn NY on Instagram, and ChristopherHahn.com. Follow me on YouTube now. The Aggressive Progressive. That's my YouTube channel. Pretty soon, I'll be doing this podcast, this podcast on YouTube every day. You'll be able to see me doing this. Now, I don't know why anybody would want to see me doing this, but I'm told there's a market for it. So I'm going to be doing this. And I'm not always going to wear a suit like I'm on TV. Like right now I'm doing this podcast. I am in t-shirts and shorts and a baseball hat. I probably will take the baseball hat off for in front of the camera because you won't be able to see the expressions on my face. And I think that's the whole point of this whole thing. But yeah, The Aggressive Progressive on YouTube. Please subscribe today. Smash that subscribe button. And of course, The Aggressive Progressive podcast, new episodes every Tuesday. If you like me here, you're going to like me in both of those places. So check those things out and watch me on News Nation, news for all Americans. So we're in the home stretch, baby. In the home stretch. Now, the jury is in on the debate. America has 100% believed that Kamala Harris won that debate. Now, there are some, dyed-in-the-wool Trump supporters who loved the fact that he was talking about Haitian migrants eating dogs, which they're not doing. The governor, the Republican governor of Ohio, had to come out and say that wasn't happening. The Republican city manager of Springfield had to come out and say that wasn't happening. And of course, like anything else that is said by Trump, some deranged lunatic will call in a bomb threat as a result, or threaten violence. This is not happening. When J.D. Vance was asked about it on the Sunday shows, he made an absolute ridiculous pivot to try to turn this into some sort of broader immigration conversation, saying that this is the big plan. No, J.D. Vance, say that you promoted a theory that was not true. And maybe it was an accident. Maybe apologize. Nobody apologizes in politics anymore. Ever. When I get something wrong on this program, and I will tell you. And I will, take the blame for it. But I guess in politics today, particularly on the right, you never have to apologize for anything. Ever. And it's getting more and more disturbing every day. So, I don't know, what the full verdict from the polls will be, right? We're starting to see polls come out. Harris has grown her lead ever so slightly since the debate. Ever so slightly. 6 percentage points with likely voters. Now, look, I think a Democrat, given the boundaries of the Electoral College, needs to be at least 4 points ahead. They need to win the popular vote nationally by 4% to win the Electoral College. So 6 points is right within the margin of error of being on that 4-point spread. So I think she's got work to do, America. I really do. I know that some of you listening to me who are on the progressive mode think that this was a slam dunk. I mean, even Bill Maher, who is as pessimistic as pessimists go, went out on a limb on Friday night and said it's over for Trump. This is the end. And you know what? He may be right. I hope he's right. But again, I ain't taking anything for granted, neither should you. If you want to see Donald Trump defeated in November, do whatever you can to help defeat him. Volunteer with the Harris campaign, wherever you live. And, phone bank in a swing state. You could do it. You could go to the swing states and knock on doors. You could do whatever, all of those things. Or you could donate, whatever you got to do, whatever it is. But just don't take it for granted. It seems very clear right now that the Trump campaign is in some sort of death spiral, right? Trump himself is particularly unhinged, saying some pretty crazy things. He clearly knows. Look, he came out and said he won the debate, but he clearly knows he did not win the debate. Trump's a lot of things, but I think he's aware of how things look on TV more than anything else. And if he spent even a minute watching that debate, he knows how he came off. Now, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. A lot of people in his base really liked his debate performance. They loved it. It's what they wanted. Name calling, whatever. But there's a good chunk of people who haven't made up their mind. And almost 70 million Americans watched that debate. 70 million. It's a lot. If, 200,000 of them were swing voters in one of 6 swing states, and they took away from that what almost everybody else did, that he behaved like a petulant child and she looked presidential, yeah, Bill Maher's right. This race is over. But don't count on that. Do not count on that. Do not count your chickens yet. They have not hatched. They're about 53 days away from hatching. Oh, and they're moving quick these days, aren't they, America? They are moving. They are flying by. We are in the home stretch. They will not debate again. There'll be a VP debate. I don't expect J.D. Vance to do as poorly as Donald Trump, but I do expect him to perform for the MAGA crowd, which means he'll turn off swing voters. And if that's his game plan, let him go. Let him do it. I've covered a lot of debates, man, in my lifetime. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, Joe Biden, aside, that debate was horrible. But God, that was the second worst debate performance of all time. And we'll see how much it matters. I think it matters. I mean, we've talked about a lot of other things today. We've talked about assassination attempts and bomb threats and lies about cats and senators who you probably need to apologize to their constituents. What matters and what doesn't? I think in an election this close, it all matters. Every single thing matters when you get into a situation like this where 200,000 voters in 5 or 6 states are going to make up the difference, going to determine the future of this country. I think they're going to make the right choice. I know. Fear not. I think they will make the right choice. All right. I think you've all had enough of me, so I'm going to remind you now, as I always do, to seek the truth. Question everyone and everything, even me. Seek the truth. I know it's out there, and I know you'll find it if you look for it. And I'll be back here again next week to tell you the truth as I see it. I'm Chris Hahn. Thanks for listening to the Aggressive Progressive Podcast.